Welcome back to Bible and Blues, and tonight we are doing a special May Day edition. And as you might imagine, I'm not real big on protests. I didn't attend. Why? Because I have a job. Okay, so really, long and short of it is it's just kind of a matter of I've never been a big guy, really into protests or boycotts or anything like that. However, I can see the stupidity in them, but not everything's bad. Not everything's bad about them. And we're going to go through a few things here. And I'm kind of turning myself here. I'm sliding around because I'm trying to keep the microphone in front of my face for a change. So I live in the Seattle region. And in the Seattle region, we've had May Day protests, of course, for years, just like everybody else. Does anybody remember what May Day really was about? May Day is actually has its basis in a pagan celebration of a spring festival, of rebirth, of renewal, of new love, fertility, all that kind of stuff. And that's the actual May Day. Now, when I was growing up, I mean, granted, I wasn't exactly involved in politics as a kid, but we did May Day baskets, and where we'd take a cup and put some twigs into it and some flowers, and we'd put it on somebody's doorstep and ring the doorbell and see their nice little reaction. And and so in a lot of societies, there's still a great deal of to deal with a maypole, where you've seen them, and most people in the United States think of it as something that happens in another country, and it does. It does still happen in other countries. It doesn't happen so much here with the maypole. And that's and initially that was designed to be for adult men and women, of marriageable age, and which that could be a misnomer when depending upon the society, because a 14-year-old girl can be in marriageable age, in the 1700s, right? Whether we agree with it or not, thankfully we've actually kind of grown out of that concept. In the Western society, anyway. So, with that being said, that was what May Day was. May Day became in the 1800s. It became a time of protest of workers' rights, was what it was called. And this is a time when unions didn't have any strength. Unions were very new, and this is a time when actually the country needed unions, and workers actually needed unions to a certain extent. I believe I'm of the personal belief that, and you can argue with me if you want to about this. That's fine. That unions, for the most part, have kind of outlived their usefulness. They have become an entity of their own, a political entity, a financial entity, a monster of their own that has grown beyond their usefulness. That's my personal opinion. I'm not a union worker, obviously. I have been. And so, so I'm not saying the people in the union are good people. Okay. Why do I have to give these qualifiers anymore? Why do we have to do that now? Now I have to sit there and say these people are good, this is bad. No, unions have a problem. Okay. And they don't want to face up to it. And if you're part of if you're one of the union members, why don't you examine your union and ask yourself, is it doing what you want it to do? So, the union started out with these protests and riots and fights that would happen from trying to start the unions. And for some reason that I'm not clear on yet, it takes more research than I'm willing to do 10 minutes after I got home from work. May Day seems to have become a traditional day for this to happen. So what's happening now? I'm in the Seattle area, real politically active region of the country, like all the major cities. So, having grown up in a small town, the Midwest, we didn't have any of this stuff, right? Who'd you protest? The Fairway grocers. Come on, people. So, here's a little list of things that happened today. So, we have the Veteran Anti-War Formation March. And this was actually scheduled for 8:45 a.m. this morning to 10:45 a.m. This is not necessarily something I'm against. I don't necessarily like war. Okay, I believe that war is something that we have to do from time to time. It's a distasteful thing that we have to do as a society, as the most powerful society in the world, with the largest army, with the most robust army, with the most technologically advanced army. That's one of our jobs from time to time, is to go in and be Big Brother. I don't like it, but sometimes we need to do it. March for immigration workers' rights. Socialist Seattle Councilwoman Shama Sawant. She's a piece of work. And leaders with the May Day March of Resistance say their march will reunite workers and immigrants who they believed are targeted by President Donald Trump's administration. Tens of thousands of people are expected to attend, according to the Facebook event page. That's from 11 to 1. Okay? Now bear in mind, Shama Sawant was also the person who said, we need to have Boeing make buses. Have the people take over Boeing, who makes airplanes, and is the largest employer in this region, and have them make buses. That was her great idea. How did she ever get... Okay, it's Seattle. That's how she got elected. Anonymous May Day March. Okay. So Anonymous was around. University of Washington rally. There's no specific time for this one because, let's face it, we can't expect college students to actually adhere to a schedule. Stand Against Communism rally. I can go for that one. What do they have? At 4 p.m. at Westlake Park in Seattle. Okay. There will be a group of about 50 pro-Donald Trump activists. And I've mentioned I'm not necessarily a pro-Donald Trump. I am an anti-establishment kind of guy. So I'm a libertarian when you come right down to it. Conservative libertarian. Who are members of the group Patriot Prayer will travel from Vancouver, Washington to Seattle, according to Seattle Patriot. Seattle Patch. The organizer of the rally, Joey Gibson, told the Patch that some members will be armed with guns, but has asked everyone in the group to remain non-violent. I'll have to follow up with this one. Gibson expects Seattle area conservatives to join the demonstration. When you're going into a demonstration, and you know that you're going to have people like this next one, Puget Sound anarchists, who are violent, and you're showing up and you're saying, well, we're going to be armed. This is kind of a recipe for disaster, don't you think? So, and again, I'm pro-gun. I have guns, okay? I like guns. But we do have people like Puget Sound anarchists. A group in Olympia say May Day is an international day of action. It's calling on protesters to stop everything. According to so their whole idea is they're going to stop everything that's happening. Anything you're doing, they're going to stop. Well, I hate to break it to them. That's supposed to be from 4 to 6 today in Olympia. I don't think I heard at all about them today. Block the Juvie. Okay. General strike against fascism. So that's great. There's Antifa. A pop-up block party will have numerous live performances, food, and speakers. 5 p.m. May Day, there it is. May Day Anti-Fascist Rally. A Facebook event calls for the people to dress in black and gather at King County Juvenile Detention Center. Yeah, well, some will just end up there anyway. As part of an anti-fascist rally. The group says instead of building a juvenile center, that they should build community. How? Well, let's just break it all down. And that was supposed to be at 6 p.m. So that's been going on for about a half an hour. I'll have to check to see what's happening at the anti-fascist rally. There are safety tips for May Day. Preparing for May Day in Seattle. Last year, I remember a bunch of last year's stuff. So we're going to check the May Day anti-fascist rally, okay? And May Day, because I am as organized as always. Anti-fascist rally, Seattle. See what comes up on that. Well, one arrested. Mayday. Here's what we know about today's events. Trump, Amazon on marchers. Let's get news. Let's go to news. Okay. And they are like reporting next to nothing, aren't they? Oh my gosh. This is the media in Seattle, okay? So I think and I mean there is next to nothing in the news yet. It's going to be interesting to see what pops out in the news over the next couple of days, people. And I'm really interested to catch on to it. And I think I think probably one of the worst groups. I mean, Anonymous has its issues, yeah. Occupy is really has issues, but this newish one, Antifa, okay, they should link up very nicely with the anarchists who just want to go around destroying everything. Really, when you come down to it, aren't they just kind of the definition of terrorists? Aren't they domestic terrorists? I mean, I'm asking a question here. Why don't you tell me what you think? Is Antifa and these people, are they domestic terrorists? I want to know what you think. By definition, are they using terrorist tactics? Are they using violence to get their way? Are they attacking people? Okay? Are they? I have a friend down in Portland, and I asked him about what was going on because last week there was supposed to be a parade. And Antifa said, sent a letter to the mayor and said, you need to cancel this or we're going to jump in there with 200 people and drag people out of it. He caved. Okay? He caved to a terrorist activity. And in my opinion, that's exactly what happened. So I don't know what your opinion is on that. Let me know what you think about this because these groups, I mean, they're getting worse. Protests, I'm all for protests. You want to go up there and you want to tell people what you think, go do it. You want to organize and you want to go march through the streets, put in your permit and get on it. You want to go to Olympia or your own state capital and you want to tell them what you think, go do it. They're your representatives too. Do you want to go in and break things and hurt people? I don't care what side you're on. If that's your goal, is to hurt people, you're a terrorist, in my opinion. If your goal is to hurt people and make people fear you so you will get your way, that's the definition of it. Okay, maybe you're not an Islamic jihadi, maybe not. Maybe you're not, an IRA member from Northern Ireland, but you are definitely using the same tactics. So, I mean, what's next? I mean, explosives have been used. Low grade, yes, M80s, things like that. You've been using those. So, this is all my opinion, and you know what? That's my opinion. So, so what is your opinion on these matters? I'd like to hear from you, and I'm here for you, so let's get engaged and have a conversation about this.